New month, and of course that means we get an update of all the upcoming stuff in February 2024 for Konosuba Fantastic Days. And trust me guys, this time it's literally groundbreaking. I'm Katsuma Gaming, let's get right into this. So for all the infos that I'm grabbing, I based that on my information of the Japanese version of this game. So yes, if you didn't know it already, this game also has a Japanese version with its own exclusive servers and a different timeline because we are actually 1.5 years ahead to the global timeline. And for example, right now there's an Eminence in the Shadow collaboration going on. And my summon video should actually drop tomorrow, so check it out as well if you're interested in that. But yeah, based on that, we pretty much have an idea how the whole banner timeline works and should work on the global side because we know what banners are coming. And thanks to that, we gladly know what units are really great, which units are meh, and what you should do on the global side, because that's a big advantage of global side besides the way more free cards that we are getting. Then we have the news base on the JP side. And oh boy, will February be a really interesting month. Starting off pretty simple, but pretty strong. It's of course time for Forbidden Wiz, our second Forbidden unit to drop. If you don't know what she's doing, she is an Earth unit that has a double hit with a self tier 2 speed boost. She also has a self Earth damage buff, and last but not least, she has an ulti that's just it's really nuts. First up, before I actually check out the kit, here you can see here you can see the Encyclopedia, and yes, in the tier list, Forbidden Wiz is already up there in the meta units tier. If you're asking why she's not higher, simply because she doesn't have any, off elemental usage. That's why she's just up there. But she's really strong. For that, you can just go to the character page, and luckily for everyone you out there, we have all the ultis, of course, listed in our Encyclopedia. In that case, you can see that her ulti, first off, boosts all damage types. So this means all elementals. So if you would be crazy enough to bring like an electro damaging unit together with her and you use your ulti, that electro damage would get buffed. So the all elements doesn't really matter here. But it's an earth damage boost, which is kind of nice for a team. And also a party attacks add up fixed earth damage. This sounds a little bit weird, but if you tried around with some assists so far, you know that there are some assists that make a little like plus symbol with a damage number besides the damage number. That's kind of what the Swiss does. So each hit the enemy takes, literally every damage instance the enemy takes, you will deal bonus damage on top of that. That's fixed damage. I think it's 4,000 damage. This damage gets affected by Reshred, so it's an earth damage skill, and if the enemy is weak to it and you have Reshred on that, that just is a big damage number. And again, this is for every damage instance. So for example, if you double hit an enemy, that's 2 times the bonus damage. If you have a counter and the enemy attacks all 3 of your units at the same time, that's 3 damaging instances to the enemy and 3 times the bonus hit. So pretty much every unit that has some kind of multiple hit mechanism in that just works really well with this Wiz, and that just makes her that strong. Her damage is so nuts because it's wild. The only downside here is really it's just 6 seconds, but then again, unlike Aqua, she does need more gauge to get her ulti ready. So with some gauge up support from your team or gauge up earrings and stuff like that, you can have a pretty good uptime on this ulti. Sure, not 100%, that's not what you should do, but get your ulti up, use your skills, use the double hits, use your triple hits if that's something you have, do your damage, and then while you get your ultis ready, just use basic, a little less damage, and then again, of course, you can use your ulti again, use all your skills again, use the other ultis again, just to deal a certain amount of damage. I actually tried to upload a few of my JP arena ranks that I just haven't uploaded so far. One of them is actually an Earth arena, both a team with a really interesting strat where we actually use another upcoming unit and just a normal, OP team for this specific arena with the newly released unit. But yeah, that's enough of just purely talking about Wiz. Let's just continue here. We're also getting new Year Yunyun, which is a really great unit. She's just kind of mage Lisa, like swimsuit Lisa. She has a single target, gauge up skill, but it's 20% compared to Lisa's 10%, but then it's only 1 damaging instances instead of 2. So no double hit. And then single target, Reshred, tier 2. And of course, you know, Yunyun's ulti 1 version 2 just buffs physical magical attack, kind of like a Lisa. So the question would now be, why would you want to use this Yunyun over Lisa? And the answer is pretty simple. The 10% gauge matters quite a bit, actually. It allows you for smoother rotations. Then again, in the future, we should in theory get more mage water units. So for a pure mage team, a pure mage arena, Yunyun of course outperforms Lisa. And then of course in a pure physical arena, Lisa outperforms Yunyun. So in that regard, she's just kind of like a tiny upgrade over Lisa. If you have the chance, you should probably just run Yunyun over Lisa. So yeah, if you don't have Lisa, that's a great pickup. But to be honest, she's in the same banner as Forbidden Wiz, so you're just going to pull anyway there, and you probably can get her on the side if you get lucky. So that's just such a great banner to pull. This is the next big banner to pull on, this next must banner pull, so keep that in mind. Then the welfare of part 1 is Lia, not really interesting. Now we get to Cecily. And we are getting a new mechanic with her. That's right, another Cecily that implements a new mechanic that we haven't seen yet so far in Global. And this time it will be EX buffs. That's also something that we have for a while in GP, and that's actually pretty simple if you understand it, but at first it was a little bit of confusing. So EX buffs are just the same kind of buffs that we normally have, but these can coexist to normal buffs. I'm actually not sure if I have that in my Encyclopedia. Let me just quickly double check by the to the skill compendium. I think I actually included in down there. There, yeah. The H buff currently exists, can exist as an EX buff as well. So far we have magic attack. I mean, the list of EX buffs here is wrong, it's outdated. I need to work on Encyclopedia, yes, but it's listed in there. But yeah, pretty much all the buffs that currently can exist can also exist next in EX buff. So for example, the Cecily will have an EX light damage boost, which means, you know, it can coexist to a normal lightning damage boost. You can have 2 tier 1 lightning damage boosts, and that alone doesn't make her great. She's actually a pretty bad unit, I would say. Yes, you can run her, but you can just get away with running, you know, the Cielo, School Cielo, or just using School Rim, because I think it was like a magical arena actually. So not really the time for Forbidden Aqua, but Aure, Yunyun, Cielo, or Rin can just do fine as well. So that out of the way. EX buffs are still something cool, because it can make some units more usable than before. Because if you ever had a team that has like 1 unit that can buff your team, and then you have a second unit that can also buff your team, together you just use value, since they have the same kind of buffs and they don't stack with each other, they just override each other. And of that is less valuable. By actually having units that provide EX buffs, aka these buffs are mostly weaker, like tier 3 EX buffs are like non-existent, I think, or really rare. I think the highest we actually have are tier 2 buffs, just to show how good they are. Makes it that units can actually get useful buffs to coexist with other buffs. And again, at the beginning it will mostly be like elemental damage buffs, but in the future we get some really interesting one like Reshred EX buffs, so you can have double Reshred on the enemy. That's right, double like EX physical or magical attack buffs, just to boost the potential of your units even more. And of course the elemental buffs. And I think it's a cool mechanic, because again, it allows other units to have buffs without making them less usable, but also these units are more rare than common, I would say. So if you in the future check what the unit does, keep in mind to check if there says anything about EX, because if it's an EX buff, it can coexist, and with that actually makes the unit a little bit more valuable than before. Okay, then of course the next welfare will just be ML, new year, nothing crazy. And then we get the next banner. And that's why I'm talking about a little bit of groundbreaking. Not only we are getting a new mechanic and a new forbidden unit, we are also getting Valentine's Banner. And I say groundbreaking because these are also Earth units. That's right, pretty much, well, one filler banner in between with Cecily. We are getting back-to-back Earth unit. Not only that, I think after Valentine's we have one, maybe two filler banners before we get actually to the 3rd anniversary. That's right, next month we get our 3rd anniversary. We are getting another Earth unit. And that's just so many Earth units back to back to back, which makes it really hard to be like, which of these units should you pull for? And so here's the thing about Valentine's first. Valentine's Lia actually has a single target, Rash Red. Let me actually just go to the Encyclopedia. I think it's better to show it that way so you can actually see what I'm talking about. So let's go to the units. Let's go to Lia and go to her Earth unit. So yeah, you can see she has a single target Rash Red. So finally Earth gets some single target Rash Red units, which means Onsen Melissa's value will decrease unless it's an AoE arena. But based on that, you can pretty much assume that's a single target arena. And she also has a double hit. Look at that, perfectly working, you know, with Wiz. And that's just a really good team of having like Wiz plus Lia for either speed boost for your whole team or some kind of CDR. You have the Rash Red, which is something Wiz likes. Great teammate to fit on her. And the other unit is Darkness. And this is the important part here, right? You see 2 Earth Darknesses because in pretty much half a year roughly from now on, we are getting fantasy Fes units, which is again something completely new. They also have some kind of special ultis. I'm not going to explain it in detail here, but let me say that one thing here. Just compare these kits, okay? We have Valentine's Darkness that provides an Earth damage boost for your team. That will be really, really important because, again, 3rd anniversary, we are getting Fes Vanir, right? And Fes Vanir will replace OG Vanir. With that, you will lose your Earth team damage provider. And that Darkness just fits that role perfectly, aka makes her a great pickup for that alone. Then her kit, she has a 3 times random hit. Yeah, that's right, 3 hits, so 3 instances of Wiz's bonus damage that you can apply. Plus a party to counter that buff, what I just said, you know, AoE attacks, counter, bonus damage, And then the second skill is just nuts again. It gives 8 seconds of CDR, that's right, 8 seconds of CDR, not 6, not 4, 8, and a self-gauge up of 20%. Put that together with a Chinchimaru as a weapon, plus potential gauge up support. Again, for a 3rd anniversary, we'll actually get a Darkness that gives gauge up as a passive trait. With her, and you have a unit that can pretty much loop her ultis really, really well. Her basic, use a tier 2 physical attack buff. It's nice, but does it really matter? No, doesn't really matter. The really interesting thing here is you can not only use this Darkness as a pure damage unit with her ulti 2 to, you know, spam the triple hits, land all 3 hits, apply the bonus damage, provide some CDR for your team. If you don't have another buffers, for example, if you run Darkness with Lia, you can of course also use her ulti 1 version 2. Just by the fact that she can buff your team, tank the damage, provide some counter damage, makes her a great buffer. Actually, she's pretty similar to a call-out Darkness that we actually didn't get yet in Global, aka Bovary Darkness, which kind of had the same thing with like counter damage, CDR, and gauge up, but it's just Earth. And this just makes it such a good Darkness. I think still up to date. This is the best Darkness we have. Yes, that means she's even better, in my opinion, than Fantasy Fes Darkness, because to be honest, so far there was only one arena where we used Fantasy Fes Darkness, and then she just got replaced by Accelerator. I mean, at least in Global, she might be safe from that fate with no collaboration so far. Maybe we can actually use her, but the fact that she has no team buffs and not a good team to work with her just makes her way more clunky and hard to use compared to this Valentine's Darkness, which is just straightforward. It's like, use the counter if needed. Actually, if you have a second CDR unit together with the Darkness, so for example the new Vanir that's coming out of the 3rd anniversary, you can just have like 12? No, I think it's even 14 seconds of CDR. Like, that skill alone 8 seconds off of the 20 is a 12-second cooldown. Or bring in Vanir, I think it's 6-second CDR, right? That's 6 seconds before the skill is back up. That's right, you can just use CDR skill, use your ulti, and your CDR skill is back up, which of course means the other skills are back up, and you can just spam skills non-stop. This is actually one of the strats that we used in the JP arena, which I talked before. This is really, really good. It's hard for me to describe how good she is, because Pop Artist, she relies 100% on Forbidden Wisp. You should not run this Darkness without Forbidden Wisp, because otherwise you just have room for a buffer and stuff like that. Like, she just scales so well with Forbidden Wisp that if you have Forbidden Wisp, this is like the second best unit you can grab together with her, I think, because you can just use her all the time. Like, again, even if you don't care about her damage, just the team buffs that she provides are just that nutty, right? So a good thing here for us is that we get the Forbidden Banner first, so if you have some leftovers you can potentially use that in this banner. But then again, she also really scales well with the Fes Vanir we're getting on the 3rd anniversary, which is again next month. So yeah, it's hard to recommend what you should do here, but you can see like Earth meta pretty much will change a lot over the next 1.5 months, and is pretty much non-comparable before. The only unit that I think still kind of makes sense in Earth that we so far have is Megumin for the tier 3 EX, not EX Reshred, but for tier 3 Reshred that she can provide. I think that's a great tool to utilize, especially with the Darkness. Like if you, for example, use Vanir, Darkness, and Wiz, you could just use Megumi before, let her provide the tier 3 Reshred, then Darkness can come in, provide the team with some CDR, the ulti buff, that your ult units are buffed, then they can just do as much damage as possible and, you know, go ham. Whew, that was already enough talking. Luckily for us, that's all for February. Again, it's a short month, of course, so that's that. But I still hope I could kind of show you just how insane the next 1.5/2 months are coming. One last thing that I want to do here is I want to just quickly take a look at the timeline, because I think the timeline is also really important for a lot of people out here. Again, this is also linked here in the Encyclopedia. There's literally a link just here. Click on it and you go to the timeline page, and there are different tabs at the bottom or at the top, whatever platform you're using on. There's like a timeline and there's JP timeline. And these should be pretty much up to date. Maybe the newest unit's missing some icons because I'm lazy. Sorry, that's my fault. Dudu does a great job of updating everything, and I try to provide all the stuff he needs, but it's just hard to do it all. Again, if you want to support me, you know, and support this project, every donation and membership on YouTube and Twitch, sub on Twitch, or just like donations helps a ton. And the more support I get, the more time I can actually sink into this encyclopedia to just make it even better. Even new topics like elemental tier lists for global, like just a clean update of all the currently existing tier lists. And speaking of, by the way, of course, over the next 2, 3, 4 days, we should also get an updated global tier list. Stay tuned for that. Again, Wiz Requirement already in there, but for all the others, announced units, and probably just all the units until the 3rd anniversary. I think I'm just going to do it like that. But yeah, let me just make it a little bit bigger so you guys can see properly. So again, we are currently here, Christmas. We have, of course, Forbidden and New Year Banner 1 and 2. We have a collaboration that is not happening in global right now, so we get Valentine's. Again, we get one filler banner that I talked about, which is the Mia. A really bad permanent unit. I skip this banner, guys. Do it. Don't even dare to pull on this banner. I dare you, don't pull on it. Into 3rd anniversary with Fes Vanir. The Darkness is provided with gauge up, and also Vanir has like the magic damage gauge up trait that Union has, which makes him a great sub to have. Into New Year Part 2, into our next new unit, aka Claire. And what she is doing, I'm going to explain it, of course, next month when we know that she's coming. Other noteworthy banners right after her are Forbidden Megumin. Yes, we are just getting another Forbidden banner right there, which is really good. She's like one of the best units that we actually have in the game. We get Crimson School Eris, and banner afterwards, we are getting another new character, and that's OG Funny Dodo. And I say OG, which kind of misleading, but there is only one OG one Funny Dodo unit in the game, and this unit is actually really special. Again, I will also make a dedicated video about her. So again, if you don't want to miss any of these videos, any of these updates, remember, like, subscribe, follow for more content, because there's a lot of stuff coming that I want to explain. And after that, after this banner, I think the hardest time banner-wise for global will be over, because not only at that point, Detective Comico, we are getting more permanent units, we are also getting more conditional units. So units that are great, but not always great, but like in the right circumstances can shine really, really well, which also means that a lot of these units are not must pulls, because they are great for one arena, yes, and they are really, really great for that arena, but they aren't must pulls because they are not like permanently top tier in this arena, which is a great sign, great relief for all global players, because, you know, time to chill a bit, time to hopefully save up some quartz for all the other, you know, fantasy, forbidden, normal fast banners and stuff that's coming up. Potentially, again, you know, in the future, collaboration banners that might be coming again. So, you know, at that point, I think it's fine to get a global, to get collabs again in the global version, because now you actually have potentially chances to save up quartz for them. And yeah, I think that's all the important stuff here. Of course, you know, the classic stuff. We are getting the calendar, nothing too crazy here. We can see we are actually getting one wind arena as kind of a filler. Then we are getting in Water Earth arena, a double arena finally again, which is really cool, which means we can use both Yunyun and Wiz, which is of course working really, really great together. We are then getting our light arena, which should be a major arena for the new Cecily. And last but not least, we are getting a lightning arena, interestingly. I'm not really sure why we are getting a lightning arena. Maybe just a filler arena or so. But hey, for people who have now Aqua and potentially Comico, that might be just another arena to use these units. Then we of course are getting our monthly login bonus part, so nothing special there. And just quick info, there was a bug with Eris Assist. You can just exchange her now through the exchange shop. Again, I showed it in my Eris banner guide that you can exchange her. By the way, if you missed that, check it out. I tried to explain there why Eris is such a good assistant, why you should use her and why you should pull for her, and why dupes actually matter of her, not just for the stats, but actually for her effect. And besides that, you know, we got the update notes with all the information, but there's nothing crazy in here. Like, yes, we got Eris assist, we got some more bundles, we got some other stuff to buy. I don't think anything was here worth talking about. That's why I didn't do it. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's already way longer than I wanted this video to be. So thank you so much for watching. Good luck with your future summons. Again, make sure you like, subscribe, follow for more content. And if you want to watch me do summons for example, Forbidden Wiz and New Year Yunyuns, make sure to follow me both here on YouTube and Twitch, because I regularly do live streams there each Monday and Wednesday normally. If something changed, I will announce it, my Discord and my streaming plan on Twitter. So check these out. But I normally regularly stream 2 times a week, some Konosuba Fantastic Days content there, and I would love to see you there to just answer your questions, explain more stuff, like answering the 20th time, why do I pause in every arena run, what do I do with it, is it to increase the damage, and what the hell I'm doing there. I gladly answer them on stream, so hopefully see you there, and see you all in the next one. Bye!